Thank you, Mish, for joining us tonight on our weekly series where we talk to doTERRA's leaders about how these oils have influenced their life and how you've taken steps to develop a very successful doTERRA business. So thank you for joining us. So what I want to start with is, tell me about your first doTERRA experience. When were you first introduced to doTERRA?
I was first introduced to doTERRA in July of 2014, actually. It was at a baby wearing convention or a baby wearing meet or something. I won a 5 ml wild orange. And it was from the woman who was donating breast milk to our daughter. I had a lot of problems breastfeeding. And then I asked for some goals. Thanks, hold on. Sister was trying to qualify for Diamond Club, actually said, would you buy a kit? And so I bought a kit, and I didn't realize at the time that you could just buy it for personal use. I thought that once you bought the oils that you were selling the business. So I kind of I guess I would say not from the moment that I smelled the oils, I thought I was into the business, but from the moment that I got my kit, I knew I was into the business. And so 3 weeks after I got the oils, I held my first class. So that was the start of it.
So what inspired you most about the business model of doTERRA? What provided you with those thoughts that this is an opportunity that was worth pursuing?
Because I love the oils so much. And I love the oils so much, and I love the company. I love what doTERRA stood for. And it wasn't anything like, once I realized after I got my oils that you could have your own account for personal use, because I was kind of looking at like other companies to do other things, because I did not want to go back and do shift work as a nurse. Like, there was no way I was going to go back. And so I was looking at other companies, but it was like, you had to maintain this amount, you had to sell this many rank, and blah, 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 blah. It's like, I don't want to be with a company that requires people to have a certain amount per month, that they have to sell anything. I just want people to be able to have an account. What I also liked about it was that it was versatile. The products could be used for anybody at any age, and was a duplicatable business, and people had to keep purchasing, not had to, but had the opportunity to create a lifestyle. It wasn't just like cleaning products or, a mop or a vacuum or a set of knives. It was about a holistic lifestyle change. And it just made sense to me from a business model. No pressure to join, no pressure to buy. You could do all the above if you wanted to. And it was a product that was super versatile and I didn't feel like they had sold out. They were really true to what they were creating, and what products they had and were developing were aligned with what they were already doing.
Yeah, beautiful. So when you brought the oils home, what did your husband think?
Oh, that's funny. Well, when I got the kit, I got the smallest kit, which was a mistake. But anyways, I got the smallest kit, and then I said, I'm investing $3,500 and I'm doing this as a business. And he was pretty nervous about that, because I ended up, lucky for my upline, because I spent like $3,000 in products in the first like 2 months. So she made a killing on Fast Start. But I think he was skeptical of it, just because he thought it was some sort of like rodeo, like hocus pocus hippie magic. And he also didn't think I'd make any money in it. Like he did not think I'd make any money in it. Like, he did not. He really did not think I was going to make it a business. He did not even imagine it being the way that it is now. And I knew when I first started, when I got into it, I said, I have to give this 2 years. If I can give this 2 years and I can get to Diamond in 2 years, then he'll understand that it wasn't just some sort of like, pony show. Like, it was like the big deal. And when we hit Diamond, or probably when we hit about silver or gold, he was like, okay, now you're starting to make money. And then when I started to hit like platinum and diamond, he's like, oh, I need to take over your books. Like, this isn't just like some little, like, mom's cup of tea around a cake. It was a business to him. But when he first started, I had to hold the vision. I know that's the same for you as well. Like both of our partners were supportive of us doing it, but they were skeptical that we could hold on to the vision. And so I had to hold that on to myself. I had to know that the money that I was investing from our family, that I was going to get it back. But I had to hold on to that. That was my vision, not his.
Yeah. And so knowing that and being in that same space, what would be your top tip for someone who was just starting, they're concerned about the same things, they want to really give this a huge investment of their time because they can see the opportunity, but their husband is not on board just yet? What would be something that you would say to them to ease that transition?
I think put some ice glue on him, give him a massage. No, I'm just joking.
Get them to believe in the product. Yeah, totally.
I mean, the thing that I had to say to Andrew was I had to believe in my own vision, regardless of his affirmation of me. And that can be kind of difficult, I think, for sometimes for women or even for moms who maybe have had a career before, but then, have had kids and they thought, well, wait a second, like, do I have it? Do I have what it takes? Can I really, really do it? All that kind of self-doubt. But I just said to him, I know at least I can pay us back. Like, I know if I decide to quit this in 6 months time, I'll be able to pay us back. I'll get to silver or whatever, and I can pay us back. I think I said to him, I know I can sell all the things I just bought. I know I can do that. At the very least, I can do a wash, where we just cut bait and we, no pain, no gain. But I think the biggest thing for you as women is that it's your time to decide, or men who are watching this, if you're taking this business on, you don't have a supportive partner or family, you have to be willing to hold on to a vision for yourself more than the affirmation of other people. And in that situation, I also had to sit down with him and say, this is my dream. And I'm going to be away. I'm going to be at classes. I'm going to be at workshops. I'm going to be doing Zooms, because my vision is that I want us to be in a position where I don't have to go back to shift work, where I was literally having panic attacks in the car driving to work. I would be sobbing all the way to work. I would come home absolutely shattered. And I said, I have a vision for our family where financially we can travel the world and do the things that we want to do, but I need you to give me 2 years of putting forth energy into building this business, just as if it was I was starting up a hair salon or a gift store or whatever. I think sometimes when we can give them concrete examples of like, okay, well, what if I said to you, I'm going to invest it in a fast food chain? Like, if we had to drop $500,000 or $1 million investing in a fast food chain, it's a lot more money to invest. And I would also be doing just as much or more work. So it's kind of like, well, you have to take it, the fact that it's a business, and you have to personally treat it as a business in your mind as well.
Yeah. So in the beginning, when you first started, when you first had your first workshop, when you knew that this was going to be the opportunity that you wanted, how many hours did you contribute to building the DoTERRA business?
Oh, man. A lot. If you want me to give you the honest answer.
Of course I do.
A lot. I mean, it's not like, oh, I did it in 2 hours a week and everyone just fell into my lap. It was a lot. It's a full-time business. It's a full-time business. But Erin and I are like, we're kind of on like the same trajectory. And I've always told Erin that she'll pass me, which she's going to, which I'm excited about. I told her that from the beginning, but, as my grandpa would say, it separates the women from the girls, or it separates the men from the boys. If you want it to be a business, like going back to our fast food chain restaurant or your health food store restaurant, whatever franchise you purchase, you can't just drop $1 million and then either not hire someone who knows what the hell they're doing, or you have to do it yourself. Like, it's a business. You have to treat it as a business. So how much did I do? I would probably say I was doing in the beginning probably 20 to 25, 20 to 30 hours a week. And as a diamond, it fluctuates. Sometimes, like when I went to America for a month, I was probably doing 10 or 15 hours a week. When I come home, I have 2 appointments available this week, from like 7:00 in the morning until 9:00 at night. Like, yeah, I'm doing some other like personal stuff, but as far as my calendar goes, I actually have to block time off of my calendar to say no appointments, or I'm not mentoring at all that week or whatever. But that's also because I choose to do that. There are some people, some leaders who decide to do just the minimum. But if I were to say to go back, I would say that I was probably doing 2 to 3 classes a week, and also sampling probably 15 to 20 people a month. If you want to give me, if that's probably what I start out with. Now, do I do that now? Probably not as much. But I'm still doing like webinars. I'm doing, probably 15 to 20 hours a week of mentoring phone calls, developing programs, etc. So it's just that the time hasn't necessarily decreased, but the energy of where that time is going is different. So that's kind of how it works. But I mean, if you want to make it a business and you want to treat it like a business, then the hours that you actually put into it are the hours that are important, and you will see the progress in your business accordingly.
So I know the answer to this, but just for everyone else, how much has it influenced what you are now as a diamond? So the effort that you put in the beginning, how has it unfolded now? Was it worth it?
Yeah, 100%. It has single-handedly been the fastest self-development meat grinder you could ever put yourself through. It has unfolded and unraveled all of the stuff that I haven't wanted to deal with in my life, that I needed to deal with. One of the reasons I know that I'm not at blue at the moment is because I'm not ready for it yet spiritually. I need to still heal some wounds from my past and work on myself, and also create sustainable systems in my business, which haven't been present up until like the last week and a half. I also recognize that it's probably the only thing in my life where I actually feel like I'm fulfilled from a professional standpoint. I have an undergraduate degree so I have a bachelor's degree in secondary or high school education, a minor in poli-sci, a master's in nursing, and a master's in educational leadership management, right? So I have all of these kind of papers and, posted on the wall. They're not even on the wall. They're sitting up against a wall in our office collecting dust and spiders or whatever else. And the proudest thing that I am is the fact that I, as a woman, have stood up in my own power, in my own vision, in my own effort, and created something that's really sustainable and that's really mine. And that at the end of the day, I hope I'm not remembered by my rank. I hope I'm remembered by, this made me cry. I hope I'm remembered by how many women I empower to feel like they can accomplish their dreams, even if it's elite or premier or blue diamond or double platinum sparkle unicorn. I don't care what the hell they rank at. I just want women to feel like they finally have something in their lives that they can call their own, that is bettering the lives of other people around them.
Yeah, absolutely. And you are doing that. And I feel that those that have that deep why really succeed in this business. Totally. So you have your why, I have my why. How would you explain to someone, one, the importance of the why, and two, if they don't know what that is yet, how do they find that?
That's so interesting. I mean, they always talk about like doTERRA as being if you haven't done personal development, you'll do it in doTERRA. So I had done a lot of personal development, a lot of kind of raw stuff throughout my courses and the jobs I had previously. But how do you find your why? I think your why is the thing about doTERRA that keeps you going when you literally want to throw it in the garbage disposal and never see it again. When people are, difficult, or orders aren't done right, or packages get mixed up, or the wrong order gets shifted, or somebody tells you that they hate the oils, or your husband tells you that some sort of like witchcraft, all of those things, when you feel like the onslaught of negativity is being blasted at you and just, people are quitting leaders. Like in January, 3 people quit. Like bang, bang, bang. I thought, wow, I'm a diamond. People know who I am, and I still can't keep my shit together. Like what is going on with me? And it was just a reflection of what was going on in myself that I had to work through and decide, was I going to rise up again? Was I going to, the phoenix rising again? It was the cat with the 9 lives. But I made that decision pretty hardcore that I wasn't going to quit, because I felt like there's too many women that needed to see someone that could overcome their own battles with just themselves. But your why is something that I feel like your why is something that if nobody knew who you were, if nobody knew who doTERRA was or what it really stood for, but the impression that you left on them when you were talking about it is what is your why. So if they weren't like, how do I use lemon? How do I use lavender? How the hell do I even order it? But you know what? She was really passionate about what I wanted. She was really passionate about the fact that my kids should not drink Milo anymore because it has so much crap in it, Erin Blott. Like that's what she was really passionate about, me not drinking that Diet Coke, like those type of things. I was like, but she made me feel really empowered in that choice. So it's kind of like your why is about how do you want to make people feel or empowered, even if they don't totally understand doTERRA. Yeah. I guess that's my best way to kind of digest it. Why is my why important? Because there are days when I literally want to just throw doTERRA as far away from me as possible, because it's a people business. And Erin and I were talking about this today. And as you go higher and you personally go higher and your team goes higher, you deal with your shit and you deal with their shit. And sometimes it's not fun, but you know what? So is raising toddlers, and you deal with their shit too. So I don't really know what else to tell you. Some days you don't want to be a mom. Some days you just want to curl up in bed and like no one talk to me. Andrew's like, what do you want for Mother's Day? I'm like, no one talking to me. That'll be a beautiful Mother's Day present by myself in my own bed, in my own space, watching whatever I wanted to watch on YouTube. That sounds like a wonderful day. But why am I a parent? Because I want to see my daughter self-actualize, and I want to see my team do the same. So when you're stuck in your why, think about, am I giving people the best impression of me? And am I serving them in the best way that I know how, in a way that feels authentic to me? And if you can answer both of those yes, then you're probably aligning in your why. If you're answering no, then you need to go back and say, how can I serve differently? How can I serve better? What part of this doesn't feel right to me? And then your why will flesh out from that. And also, sorry, Erin, your why will change. Your why will evolve, right? So when you first start, it's like, oh, I love the oils and they smell good, and I want people not to get sick at winter, which is kind of like, I call it like the baby why. And then your why kind of expands, right? Like when I first started out, I was like, I just don't ever want to go back to cardiac nursing. Like literally that was my why. I was like, I need to make enough money so my husband thinks that it's not this. I can empower people not to have to go to the doctor so much, but I just really honestly don't want to go back and do nursing. And then it kind of evolved. It was like, okay, I want to help families. And then it was like, I want to help women. And then I was like, you know what? I really, really have a passion for helping people who are moms who think, I want more to life, but I don't know how to figure it out. So it's just kind of evolved, and you have to be patient with that process because it's also you evolving into that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, that's perfect. So Diamond Mish, with all of her wisdom and knowledge now, what would she look back on new wellness advocate Mish, and what would be her first piece of advice?
Systems. My first advice would be systems. That is the one thing that I got too caught up in, like trying to keep it all together, and I didn't have systems, and it makes it really hard to duplicate. So if you're creating like, if Erin's giving you guys stuff or welcome emails and welcome email series and getting times in your schedule that you can have time for personal development, I would have been a lot stricter with my time. I'd have just said, I'm not available then. So it's about being, the lack of systems is a scarcity mentality. A scarcity that if you put systems around your business, that you'll somehow kill your mojo. and that you also stop people coming in. And that's further from the truth. So if I could go back, I would say systems and take some flipping time off and take care of yourself. I'm not a prime shining example of health physically at the moment, and something that I'm really working on. I put on a lot of weight with doTERRA because I wasn't taking care of myself. And so one of the things I think it would have nothing to do with doTERRA. It would have everything to do with get your system sorted, take care of yourself, because people are attracted to the energy with which you present outwardly because they don't know what doTERRA is. And also, I think also it's about just wanting to make sure that you are really creating connection and things like that in your team, that you create like a culture and things like that. So I think that that's really, really important. Sorry, I just need to turn this off.
So what do you do to plan for your month ahead? What do you do before that month comes to actually plan ready for that next month? Whether it be your rank advancing, or whether it be you're maintaining rank, or you're ready to do a launch, what would you do to prepare for that month?
So I would, if I was preparing for launch, if I knew I was going to go for a rank, and I would look at the months that I just did and where I was short in that leg. So if I was let's say I was going to go for silver and I was premier before and thought, okay, I want to go for silver next month, then you work with your qualifying legs. And then you would also, then also want to plan ahead for classes and things like that. So if you knew that you were 2,000, OV short in that leg that you need to qualify for silver, I just look at, what's the projected LRP for the next month. Then I do I look at, okay, so what's my average enrollment? So maybe let's just say my average enrollment is 200, kind of random average enrollment, but let's just say it's 200. And I have 2,000 to go, then that means I need to enroll 10 people or find a combine between 10 new people at 200 and maybe somebody going on to LRP. So I know that we like to talk about like hypothetical, like pixie dust and all this type of stuff. But at the end of the day, doTERRA is a numbers game, and it's a numbers business. So if you don't understand your back office and you don't understand your numbers and your projected LRP, then you need to know that now. You need to understand how to get your LRP. You need to know how to get your projected LRP. You need to get the rank tracker, which is probably on both of our builders pages.
Yes, on mine.
And you have to know your numbers. Like at the end of the day, like you can manifest and all that type of stuff, but you get paid on numbers. So if you want to rank advance, you have to know your numbers. You need to know how to actually get to the rank that you want to go to. And you need to have buy-in from your whole team unless you want to build it all yourself.
Yeah. So having said that, how do you feel the importance is, even at the rank of doTERRA and above, to continue to hold workshops and enroll?
You mean diamond and above? Yeah, totally. All the time. Yeah. I mean, I probably don't do it I don't do like 4 a week, but that doesn't mean that I shouldn't do it 4 a week. And there are times when I feel like, I saw like a quote once that was like, if you go into recruit mode, your team goes into recruit mode. If you go into managerial mode, your team goes into managerial mode. So if you're looking at, all of the things that you're doing and all of the things that you're accomplishing, you need to make sure that you're still doing it, because what you do is what your team does. And yeah, I've pulled back on in-person classes, but I'm still doing collaborations and workshops. I'm still doing samples. I still actively share that I'm doing samples. I have, webinars and things like that. So it's just changed a little bit, but I'm still doing stuff. And I can tell you right now, the leaders who stop are the leaders whose teams stop. Full stop.
Absolutely. You're setting an example for your team and their teams as well. So
yeah, totally.
I agree. So say John is starting up a doTERRA business and he's wanting to hold a workshop for the first time. What would be the main things that he would need to do to prepare for a successful workshop?
Like for him in general, or is it the builder doing it? Yeah.
Yeah. So say John's starting to build and he doesn't have an upline close by and they're not flying over from Western Australia to start their first class, and John is ready to go. He wants to share. What would your top tip be for John hosting his first workshop and for it to be successful?
Don't overcomplicate it. Don't overthink it. That's my biggest thing. Like, you know, all the, like, get the Empower kit and all that kind of stuff you can watch videos on and rah. Like that's mentorable. Making sure that you're connected to your upline, having an LRP, all those kind of like box ticking things. But from like an emotional perspective, or like the head game that a lot of new people play, I don't know enough about this. Don't panic. Just know the Home Essentials kit. Serve your leaders, serve the people in that class well. And, you know, that's all that you can do. All you can do is serve people for what they're there for. Ask them how you can best serve them. And if you don't know the answers, then you just look it up on the Modern Essentials or in the book. It's not like a big rodeo, but I think a lot of people overcomplicate it. When I had my first class, so I got my book, I got my class, I got my oils, I think I think I enrolled on the 23rd of November, and back then it took a week and a half to 2 weeks to get here because it was in Melbourne. So I probably would have got it the first week of December if I was lucky. And I had a class 2 weeks later. And I watched video after video after video on Share Success. They didn't even have launch then. They just had the build guide, but I watched basically the equivalent of how to close. And it was a hot mess, but I basically just went over the top 10 oils, and that's all I did. So I had no aromatherapy background. I had an upline who at the time was pretty much at the exact same level that I was. So we were kind of like the blind leading the blind. We read off of script. It was horrible. It was just like, oh. But luckily our friends were really gracious, and they're lucky because they got my top line because I had no idea about placements either. My only advice was just serve people where they are, ask them what they want, what they're going to use it for, how we can best serve you, and just teach off of one kit. And if that one kit is a Home Essentials kit, that's all you have to know.
Yeah, absolutely. And try not to wait until you think you know everything, because we all, even as diamond leaders, we're consistently learning new things. So it's just about being genuine, sharing your product and being there to support those people. So,
totally.
what was your timeline? So when you first started and first building to when you reached diamond, what was your timeline? Because we know that doTERRA have averages for when people build, and a lot are faster and a lot aren't, and that's okay. What was your timeline?
So my first class was on the 23rd of December, 2 days before Christmas. And then I hit Premier in March, fell back to Elite in April, hit Silver in May. So that was, what is that, like January, February, March, April, May, 5 months, plus or minus 5 months. Then I hit gold in, so about 9 months, 8 months, 8 months. I hit gold, and then I hit platinum after 13 or 14 months, and then diamond at 17.
Yeah.
So I was gold from August in 2015 all the way through until March of 2016. When I hit platinum, then I hit diamond in April of 2016 and maintained it since then. So it took me 17 months to hit diamond.
Yeah, and that's quite a good speed to be hitting diamond. You did Diamond Club with doTERRA. So how much do you think that that's influenced the way that you grew your business?
You can't even put words to it. You do what you do in Diamond Club, what you do in 4 months would probably take you a year to a year and a half to do. Hands down. And
it was what was the experience like, and was it worth it?
what was the experience like of Diamond Club? It was freaking crazy. It was like, you know, a 36-hour labor with no epidural, the posterior, you know, it's hard work. It's, you know, but it's so worth it. Like, it's psycho hard. It's a lot of work. You're mentally exhausted. You're emotionally fried, but you meet people, you go places, you support leaders who you've never, ever, ever gotten to, because you're in Diamond Club, and you know, you push it so amazingly and so intensely that you create a momentum and rhythm in your team that is incredible. And I would just say that if anybody wants to catapult their business, then you would do Diamond Club 100%. And you have to recognize it's only 4 months out of your whole entire career with doTERRA. You know, it's not like they're asking you to do it for 12 months or 2 years. It's like, okay, Andrew, for the next 16 weeks, I'm not going to be home. I'm going to be on the road. I'm going to be traveling a ton. And I would say that if you're going to do Diamond Club, you just prep like you're having a baby, and you just stock the freezer full of food like January and February, and like get Kohl's. You just do all your grocery shopping online. You've got either food boxes or like Kohl's coming to your house and delivering. Like, your standards of dinner decreases heavily. But you also, if I could go back, I would have taken care of myself and been a lot more mindful about what I was eating and taking time off. But is it worth it? It's indescribable how much it's worth it. It's worth it every single second of it, and it's not forever.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of other things that are worth it, how do you feel, how valuable are attending leadership and convention, do you think, for the success of your business?
Totally. So if for every doTERRA leader that you can get to convention, on average, they add 50 people to your business for the next year. So if you get 10 people to go to convention, then those 10 people would create at least 500 people, and Lord knows the ripple on effect of that. When I went to convention in the US, I cried. Like, when I was sitting in the audience and there was like, you know, I think there's like 18 or 20,000 people in one arena, and they had to rent out the other one. They've already sold out tickets this year. It's pretty crazy. It's like all the oil freaks unite. It's like everyone is like vibrating on the same psycho level of love of doTERRA as everyone else. Like, you're not an outsider. So for the first time in your life, probably, you feel like you're totally inclusively in this like oiled up love fest. First of all, that's amazing. And the second is that the essence of the owners and the top executives permeates your soul. I don't know how to describe it to you. It's not like rah, everyone gets a Mercedes and, you know, glitter falls out of the ceiling and, you know, white stallions run around the stage. It's not like that. It's not hokey pokey. It's like deep, spiritual, human connection with a company that doesn't have to provide that, but chooses to. So do you want to listen to Dr. Hill for 15 hours straight? Hell yeah. When you're sitting on like a wooden bench and your bum is like numb, just rub some past tense on it. It's fine. It'll bring back the circulation. Like, it is like literally the best thing you can do for your business. And I would highly suggest that every single person goes to convention and makes it a priority to go to convention, and leadership as well. I mean, leadership changed my business. I think I've told this story a little bit, but I went to leadership. I was silver, had just hit silver. Erin flew over to the Gold Coast. She couldn't even go to leadership because she wasn't premier yet. She just hit elite. And it was at that one tree day that Erin and I were at that Deb Husbands did a session on placement. And she talked about stacking for rank and not building for power of three. And it completely changed every single person's business. Like, how you guys are doing placements now was not how we were taught how to do placements. And I can actually literally show you on my team. This was pre-Deb Husbands. This was post-Deb Husbands. Like, you can literally see the shift and how much that's impacted their leaders. You know, and just like listening to people's stories and the connect, like I met Jessie Reimers at leadership. I stalked her down and introduced myself again. And now we're really good friends and we've done some partnerships together. I know the same for Aaron, like you would have never met Bentley had it not been for a convention, probably in that intimate setting or that connection. So it's indescribable, and there you can't really put like it reminds me of those like MasterCard, was it MasterCard or Visa, that was like, you know, convention ticket $244, you know, like flight $565, you know, Uber fares $300. The amount of knowledge you gain from convention, priceless. Like that's pretty much as cheesy as it sounds. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, absolutely. And I agree wholeheartedly that it's changed my doTERRA business as well. And for anyone that wants to invest in their business long term, that attending convention and leadership are priorities, should be priorities if they're serious about growing your business. So what would you like to share? What message would you like to share with everyone out there when it comes to building doTERRA?
First of all, you have to give it 2 to 3 years. Like full stop, it has to be a 2 to 3 year commitment. There's a lot of sayings, you know, people quit too soon. It's true. Do it at a speed that's sustainable, but a little bit scary. Because if it's comfortable, you're not going to grow. If it's too scary, you also won't grow. But if you're consistent, but it adds a little bit of trepidation to you, then that's exactly what it's supposed to be. Become less emotionally reactive to the ebbs and flows of the business. There'll be days when it feels really good and you have a great month, and there's been days like mostly every single January where it's really shit. And then all of that kind of self-doubt and all that kind of creep up, oh, I can't do it, woe with me, cry in the corner, you know, all of that type of stuff. If you can be less emotionally reactive, and also the same for your team, it's like, okay, let's just like decompress this and let's just like look at like what this really means and what lesson is behind the emotionalness of it. But the most important thing is that you have to make a decision as a leader that this is your business and your leaders below you, it's their business. And you need to release having suffocating control of what they do. You have to guide them, just like parenting, but you can't run their business for them. So it's about creating and developing leaders and being part of a global natural health solutions change. So when you can see yourself as worthy of success and worthy of being part of this collective change, then you will start to make change for yourself and those people around you.
Yeah, fantastic. Beautiful. So does anyone have any questions for Mish before we go? You can use the chat button if you have any questions. I'll just stop recording.